evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the SQ1 League, Week 7. Wow, we're already 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
I am, of course, Will Viper Whittaker, but I'm joined by Blade, of all people.
Wait. What does that mean?
I mean, no, nothing. Doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
We're here for some exciting games in the SQ1 Champions League. First off, we've got Prototype versus Seadogs. So, an interesting match. I haven't actually seen Seadogs play yet, I haven't actually watched them play. But Blade, I think, have you seen Seadogs? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've seen multiple games of them. So what we do need to tell is that they are a bit in the bottom to mid of the standings. They're not some team that is like explosion that can do so much, like Lauganma or like we've seen from Glorious Gaming, that is so good and it just works together so perfectly. But they're decent. They have good communication, especially from what I've noticed. They know what they're doing and they know how to work together. It's the same with the opponents. However, I just think the side of Seadogs has a bit better communication and a bit better team play. But it will still probably be a very exciting match today.
Yeah, it should be a really, really good one. Sorry about that. We are just about to get into picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen. There's no time to lose. We've got games to play today, and we're going to get through them. So we're just going to wait for the teams to get the champ select. On the blue side, it's going to be Prototype, and on the red side, it's going to be Seadogs as we jump into picks and bans. I'm full of energy today. I'm full of beans. I've got a jar of cookies next to me, like chocolate chip cookies. I've been quietly working through them as I've just been sitting here. I've got like 15, and the jar is like half full now at this stage. It's been a good day. Obviously, we're playing on patch 9.5, which has changed up things a little bit. The meta's changing quite a lot, and we've seen a couple of hotfixes as well coming through this week. So that on-hit Nico build, the AD Nico,
so good.
That has been nerfed now with a hotfix. So while I think the theory behind it is still very solid, the obscene damage that we were seeing from it in other places, we're seeing it at high elo. We were seeing it a bit in the UKLC as well. That's not going to be as prevalent anymore. Meaning that, well, it's banned anyway, so we're not.
It's not going to show.
We're not going to see it anyway. With Silas, Kled, and Morgana being banned away. Of course, also Kale. Kale's been. The new Kale is out. I want to see the new Kale today.
Same. I want to see it. She's so good when she hits level 16. It's you just break through your opponent's tanks. It's so good.
Just melt through everyone, really. But the problem is you have to get to that level 16.
True. I've just said that we can see Nico because I've seen it in lower tournaments as well. And just top split push Nico AD is just so dirty against anything that doesn't have range. You just break him like as soon as you have one item. It's so good.
It's going to be interesting. It's not banned, so we can dream. We can dream about the Kale. We do see the Olaf and the Lucian going away to fill out the bans. Not pretty standard bans across the board, really. These champions are all seeing play Olaf, maybe a bit of a strange one.
Yeah.
A bit of an interesting one to go through. There are stronger junglers in the current meta, but it's going to be interesting to see. There's a couple of power picks still very much available, and that is one of them. A very flexible pick, Jarvan 4 being locked in for the side of Prototype. That could go top, mid, maybe mid, jungle. I've seen it support as well, so it's very much we're going to look at Jarvan 4. It's a strong champion, and we're going to take it wherever we want.
Yeah, I'm very surprised by the Olaf ban, which makes me think that the side of Prototype wants to take it to the mid game because Olaf is very strong, especially early. As soon as he gets that Predator online with the boots, which he should get around level 4 or 5, he will just be a menace and will just be able to dismantle certain people in team fights. And Galio can still be flexed. We have seen Galio top, mid, and support. Very good carry with Kalista, which I think we might see. You can just throw him in there, he can taunt everyone, so you have a knock up, a taunt, and that means Kalista can just rapid fire everyone down with the spears. Not gonna see it?
No, we're not gonna.
Picking.
We'll have to see. They're gonna have to lock it in. Stop trolling us, and it's gonna be the Kai'Sa in the end, being locked in. But Gallo, yeah, I think it is much preferable to support at the moment, just because you can build it tanky, you can just get involved, or it's not even that particularly tanky, it's just the utility you bring to the bot lane. It's so good as Galio, whereas in a solo lane, you're not maybe doing as much as you used to because of all the nerfs that came down to him. It's a favourite at the moment in the high elo scene. Kai'Sa, obviously, also a very strong champion, like Nico, but actually a marksman.
Yes, I'm so hyped about Xayah. Rakan got a buff. Xayah is so good now with the crit changes on that Essence Reaver. Just as soon as she gets just a tiny little bit fat, like you would feel GG. She can pop off so hard. She has so much flexibility. Rakan can keep everyone off her, even with the little nerfs and buffs that he got. He is very viable when it comes to being with Xayah instead of being on his own. That bot lane is so scary because the range they have against the Galio Kai'Sa is just so annoying for them to deal with.
That's going to be really exciting to see how Prototype managed to use that Xayah Rakan. An interesting pick, which kind of all but confirms the Gallia will be going support or mid, potentially, is this Poppy pick that we've been seeing a little bit more in current days. The Poppy, quite beefy, and with a lot of top lane kind of juggernauts or fighters, the Aurelias, the Aatroxes, being nerfed down. Poppy's kind of seen a little bit of resurgence coming forward, which is quite nice to see. I like a good tank player coming up back into top lane, and Poppy's certainly showing that tanks are still very much viable.
Oh yeah, for sure. But this Jarvan Xayah Rakan combo is so insanely good because I want to point out if Jarvan uses that Cataclysm, Xayah is literally just shooting fish in a barrel. If you get two people stunned there, Rakan gets a free knock-up, which also means and can just dash out again. He can just dash in, dash out, and they cannot dodge it. That's the most important part because it's so small. His knock-up fits in there perfectly. Xayah can just keep shooting all of the feathers and pull them back, which does mean that you cannot dodge that extra damage that comes with the amount of feathers that she can bring, which will be increased because Rakan is there. So as soon as you trap like Kai'Sa Galio with the Cataclysm and you just drag yourself out, they are dead because that combo is so dirty.
It is pretty gross. You can see that Seadogs can see that there's a wombo combo, some dirty Jarvan Xayah stuff going on, and they're scared of it. They're already banned the Orianna and the Lissandra, two mid laners with a lot of CC in these team fights that could be really problematic. So they're going to get those out of the way. I'm going to see Zoe and Cassiopeia coming out as bans for Prototype, meaning that this mid lane pool is being pinched a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. The mid lane is what's going to be competitive here right now because we know the top picks. We saw the ADC and the supports already. Jarvan will probably go into the jungle, at least that is what I'm expecting. So now mid lane will be probably the one that can change it around because you want to have that Xayah bursted down before the fight starts. Otherwise, in the mid to late game, you're not going to win because she does a lot more damage with Rakan than Kai'Sa can do on her own. Now they took the Lee Sin, which shows me they want early pressure on that bot lane. It's in a very early game to mid-game center jungler who can do a lot of damage as soon as he gets his dragon kick, and even before that, just with a few good sonic wave from the behind, he can do so much work against a bot lane. Rakan does make it a little bit harder for him, but if he gets that focus, it will just be so good. And the mid lane is the only thing I think in terms of comp that can save Seadogs right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they pick up in the mid lane. We see the pick coming down, meaning that this Jarvan will most likely be going into the jungle, and the Malzahar pick going mid as well. Jarvan we haven't seen too much of in recent times, in competitive and high elo at least. But Malzahar, of course, your ultimate's always going to be really nasty. You've always got that permanent push to create pressure in the mid lane. So I thought you were coming in.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I was about to say Malzahar is just a free gank for a jungler because as soon as he presses that R button, it's just you're locked down for 3 seconds. It doesn't get cleansed, so you can just easily as Jarvan use and hit the flag and drag because the target cannot move anywhere, which means it's a lot of free damage, and that's what you want on a Corki because you can just go flash alt level 6. Jarvan can follow up, and that Corki won't be able to scale as much. We have seen Wheatfish's Corki before. And last time we saw that Corki, it was so dirty. He got fed out of his brain, and it was just killing everyone left and right. And yes, it's a good late game champion, but against the Malzahar, I don't think it will be as good because Malzahar has probably one of the best wave clears in the game and can just easily push that wave to you under your turret. Early Corki is not the best wave clearer, and it's just easy to focus you down because you will be one of those carries, but with Malzahar and that R button, I don't think Corki will make it so far to the late game as where he will be super strong.
Yeah, the Corki is going to have a time. Obviously, Corki versus Malzahar in terms of fighting, the Corki's all right. And in fact, it's quite easy for you to pop the spell shield, which is kind of the, oh no, I can't gank Malzahar because he has spell shield excuse for all gold junglers everywhere. Corki's very easy. Just hit that E, hit that R attack. That shield's going away. Now you're like, jungler, please gank. And with a Jarvan 4, if the Malzahar's going to be constantly creating pressure and pushing up, and we have seen Yariot at times push up further than they should push, it could be an easy gank for Jarvan, and the Corki is going to be able to dish out quite a lot of damage, especially with 1-2 item spikes. if the Corki gets going, it could be really problematic. And you've got Lee Sin over there as well, coming in, ganking. I said Jarvan 4 ganking. Jarvan 4's not really ganking the Mazhar. He's on the same team. It's going to be the Lee Sin coming in for the ganks. But again, it's the same kind of thing. Lee Sin can do more damage, but Jarvan 4 can do more of the knocking up at the early game.
I mean,
it's same thing, really.
Yeah, pretty much. They can both do a lot in the early game. Both are early to mid game center junglers that want to get their team ahead in the early game. However, if I would have to choose, I would go for the side of Prototype here. Their team comp is so much better in terms of scaling and bringing it to the late game. And not only that, the side of Seadogs doesn't have really something that can pick someone off. Yes, they have a bit of a CC chain with the Galio, with the Poppy. However, it's not as much to where if you look at the opposing side, they have so much that they can work with. They have Rakan's ultimate. They have Zaya's ultimate to just dodge maybe a full-on engage and pull it around. They have the Malzahar that can just lock someone down like the Corki and like the Kai'Sa, who will beat those late-game carries and that want to carry that game and get a pick. And then they can just use Jarvan and Sion to this, or just to bring the fight to them, or even break it up with just the Sion unstoppable onslaught, which is so scary if it just hands on Corki, Kai'Sa, and Galio, because that dude will be tanking, no matter how you slice or dice it. He's probably one of the best late-game tanks in the game. And in terms of draft, I would say this is definitely a win for the side of Prototype. They scale better, they have better lockdown, they have better teamfight potential, and this will be a scary game for Seadogs, because they need to ace this early game, or else they're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, if Seadogs don't get ahead or get rolling very quickly, the composition that Prototype has managed to build, and it looks, if you look at it, it's a very clean composition. It's very
by the book.
We know exactly what we want to do.
Yeah.
We know exactly that in team fights we're going to win the team fights because of our Jarvan 4, our Xayah, our Rakan engage, Malzahar picks if we need them, and the Silence going to be there as well. We're beating you unless you're ahead. Seadogs is going to have to get ahead in order for their team comp to come online and dominate. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Seadogs can do that, or if it's going to be a case of them going to fall apart and Prototype are going to use their better draft in theory to win this game, considering that Prototype probably going into this game, I think it's probably fair to say that Seadogs are slight favourites.
Yes.
Or favourites. I would say that while these two teams are quite close to each other in the standings, I think a lot of people see that there is quite a difference in terms of performances. And it's not even ranks. You look at the two ranks of the teams, they're fairly similar. They're platinum, diamond, maybe a gold here or there with these two teams. But Prototype's season has been very much, they beat teams that are Korean rejects. And that's it, really. Whereas Seadogs have been beating all the teams below them. Really, they've got an upset in them as well. They've played quite well against higher up teams, but they've also kind of had their very bad games against those higher up teams and even teams around them. So it's going to be interesting to see if Seadogs are going to have one of those bad games where Prototype can use this really good draft, this really strong draft they built, in order to come across and get another win against a team that is maybe placed a little higher than them. Because if Prototype can string 2 or 3 wins together, suddenly they're climbing out of relegation and Seadogs are being dragged right into a relegation battle.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to write down Seadogs, because we have seen them turn it around, and we have seen how well they can communicate and how well they can get the carries fed because of how well they can work together. However, I do want to point out that on the side of Prototype, a lot of their members are on picks that they're very comfortable with. Going next is over 120k on the Xayah, has played it a lot, has a very good track record with the champion. Same with Alpha, who's sitting around the 80,000, 90,000 points. Even Shogo and Jariet are so experienced on that champion. They have played it before. It's very comfort pick, so they know what they're doing. They know a bit of their damage. To where if you look on the side of Seadogs, Mammal hasn't played a lot of Galio, and from what I've seen in his match history, his Galio performances have not been stellar. And if you go to Muppet, even I've seen his Lee Sin before. However, I would maybe have preferred something like the Xin Zhao here that can use the ultimate to counter Xayah, because Xin Zhao is so good against the early game Xayah, because he can just ignore so much of her damage in team fights and can lock her down, I think, more easily than the Lee Sin can. And that's also a pick that Muppet has experience with. We have seen him play it before, and this Lee is not something that he has done as much. So I'm a bit worried about how this jungle matchup is going to go.
Yeah, the jungle matchup in the early game especially is where we're going to see a lot of the action, and we're going to have to see how these two junglers compare in terms of playing these earlier game junglers, trying to get in, get ganked, create pressure across the map. Let's have a quick run on the two teams while we're just getting into this one, as it looks like it's just going to be lines of scrimmage, no initial invades. On the blue side, we do have Team Prototype looking to get the upset with their very strong draft. We've got Supernova in the top lane, Shogo in the jungle, Yarit in the mid lane, going next IRL and SS Alpha in the bot lane, and over on the red side we have Seadogs, Hench in the top lane, Muppet in the jungle, Weedfish in the mid lane, Philstar and Mammal are going to be down in that bot lane. I just thought Shogo was going to face check that brush, but luckily he warded. Doesn't matter though. Philstar and Mammal grab that a little bit gold off that ward and say, okay, we didn't get the kill, but we got a little bit of gold, so cheers for the ward.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would have been a stupid move. I don't think Shogo is that stupid to face check. I would have expected him to use the flag to maybe get a little bit of vision instead of putting the ward down. Because for the people that don't know, the flag of Jarvan actually grants vision, while the ward can be removed, the flag cannot. So you would just get a time vision, you would see them in the bush, and you could use the ward that he now used for maybe something later. However, we might see something in the jungle because Lee is at his blue buff. And I hope we can see skirmish, because I don't think Lee can take it fast enough. Yeah, Jarvan sees Lee here. Lee has got to back off.
He's going to be forced away. I'm just watching him on the map as we are watching top lane currently. So Hench has been doing a little bit of damage. Poppy, obviously, we see Poppy is a tank, but she can do a little bit of damage in the early game. Weakfish also trying to get that early poke onto Mazhar, keeping pushed in. I see Mr. Hench fighting Supernova in the top lane. There's more scrapping in the jungle. Shogo really wants to get this blue buff. Muppet also really wants
Ojo wins this.
Shogo does probably win this level 2 fight unless Muppet plays very well. He's going to back away, so Hedge being the first person looking to rotate Weakfish as well, having that pressure in the mid lane. Having pressure top and mid really allows Muppet to try and be that more aggressive jungler, but Shogo obviously winning that level 2 fight will be looking to get his own blue buff, but Muppet might be able to get it. He won't. Shogo's going to grab it. Now Muppet's going to go directly onto him. Shogo's going to be forced to run away. They have a flash, so not too much is going to go on. But we might have see a recall out of Shogo as he's taken low, as Muppet sadly does not get that blue buff.
Now, this is definitely something that we can write up on priority. They have priority top, mid, and bot, which means Muppet could pretty much do whatever he wants, because if he goes in a little bit too far, his mid laner or his top laner can come down and can help him in that jungle. So he could just as well have stayed a little while longer and done a lot more damage. And here we see...
He's going to go super low. He's going to be rooted. He's going to be ignited. The flash is going down. Alpha's going to grab first blood. That is huge play coming over from Team Prototype, grabbing that first blood onto the Rakan. Sadly, not the Zarya, but that is all we see. Level 3 on Rakan. He jumps forward, gets that kill. It's beautiful. Yariat is caught out here. OG Weedfish and Muppet are there. What is Yariat doing there? He's going to be killed. Weedfish picking up that one. What was Yariat doing that deep?
How did he get there? I didn't even see it. I was thinking,
how do you get there from that position?
Like, that is, he has to know that's so out of position, especially against something like a Lee Sin that can easily punish those mistakes by going in as fast. Top we would have expected, because Poppy has the favorable matchup in the early game against something like this.
He proves it by getting the kill onto Supernova. That's like the opposite of the caster curse. We've got Blade cast a blessing. His analysis is always correct.
No, but this is... Poppy is so strong because Sion is actually pretty squishy in the early game. Sion has, I think, the second lowest, or maybe even the lowest base HP of any champion in this game. Poppy doesn't. Poppy is pretty high up on high HP, and Poppy has also that range using her passive. So she can dash towards you, she has that range, she can gain a lot of extra armor over something like the Sion. So that gives her already a little edge over the opponent. However, this, going back to that bot lane fight, which gave them the first blood, that is something that we've expected. Zarya Rakan, with those little changes now, and with the buffs to the ADC items, and even the buffs to Zarya, because she actually got a little buff here and there, makes her so incredibly strong. And just, Galio is so weak in early game. So if you just focus on the Galio, if you get that stun, you get that knockup, he will go down, and has to be so careful now, because that Zarya already got 1 kill in 4 minutes, and she will just snowball out of control if that happens again.
Yeah, Hedge is going to be going back onto Supernova there. I think the Poppy needs to get rolling against the Sal, because as we go into the late game, Sal is going to become so beefy and such a problem. Poppy obviously will do the same. Poppy's going to be very tanky as well, but not to the extent, not the same kind of thing as we're going to see from Sion. We are seeing a gank being set up in the bot lane as we jump in. Yariat had an interesting decision earlier, and it's falling behind to the Corki, not going to be able to create too much pressure, also looking maybe to move down towards bot lane, kind of wandering around the jungle a little bit. But it looked promising for Prototype in the early game. Their bot lane did very well.
Yeah.
But then Yariat being just on a walk and then being killed by Sahed, it gives the slight advantage over to Seadogs, who are, as we say, maybe mechanically and as a team in their macro, maybe a little bit better than Prototype are. And you don't want to be giving a lead to a team like this, who has this Galley, who has this Poppy, who has the Corki, where you want to be going into late game even or ahead against them, so you can use your better combo, your better team fighting. Whereas now it's looking at Sirhench going in again. He's going to be taking towers. He doesn't have the damage to do anything. Interesting dive from Sirhench. Maybe trying to apply a little bit of pressure, but only really pressure himself.
I want to say interesting ulti from the Sion there that literally just threw his face into the turret and said, okay, this is fine. Because he hit nothing with an unstoppable onslaught, so that's a bit confusing to me. However, we can see a fight getting around Dragon now.
Yeah, the Dragon is going to go down. It's going to be Jarvan picking up that one. Shogo picking up Prototype first. Ocean Dragon. Having to get a little bit of fight out in the Baron pit. The Dragon pit is going to be forced to blast away. Shoto is going away as well. He's on like 300 health, which is never really what you want. He's going to flag and drag out. No one's going to die there. But Prototype do manage to grab that Dragon. They lose a couple of bits of health for it, and maybe they lose a summoner or two as well, but it doesn't matter too much because that Ocean Drake is going to allow them to sustain a little bit better, and in lane phase that is exactly when you want Ocean Drake unless you've got Critical.
Yeah, not only that, but this is something that's very cleanly done by the side of Prototype. They saw where a lot of the members were. They saw that Corki was still in the mid, and they saw the position of the Galio and the Kaisa, which made them think, okay, we have enough people in this river, we can quickly take it before anyone notices. And they have only wasted one flash. However, I do want to point out, this is only one time that SDS can do this. As soon as Rakan gets that quickness, that will be over. They won't be able to make that mistake again because he can just go full on ham, cancel the taunt from the Galio because he is charmed, and it will not go off even if it hits you, and then it will just be able to go for a full engage with Xayah and Rakan. Yariat could have followed up with his own ultimate and E further because he is only building damage right now as we go along, and that would have been a major problem because then I'm fairly sure that Prototype would have gotten the kill out of that fight with the Drake, with nothing in return for SDX.
It's a ticking time bomb in that bot lane. As soon as the Rakan gets to 6, I expect to see some action going down there. It's interesting that Shogo is top lane, so won't be able to come in for a free man, but I want to see this Rakan come online. He obviously was nerfed and then buffed, and he's been all over the shop. Right now he's in a pretty good spot with the Xayah being so strong. As you mentioned, and pick some bans. It would be really nice to see if they can really pop off and do some damage. And of course, with a Kai'Sa Galio, it's not the same kind of synergy that we see in the Xayah Rakan, obviously, but Kai'Sa has a lot of damage going to the late game, can be very slippery, and the Galio, of course, is always going to be very useful pick as the hedge goes in once again onto Sion. Now Sion's getting a little bit beefier. It's not going to be so useful for Hedge to get in and kind of assert the dominance he was asserting in the early game.
Yep, definitely true, and I'm actually kind of surprised that Philister on the bot side is staying in with that low amount of health. Yes, he does still have his ultimate that would give him a little bit of armor, but that would also put him behind a Rakan, and that's not something you want because he would just knock you up and you won't be able to get back on the turret in time. So I think that if Philister oversteps just a little bit, he will die. And as you said before on the top side, yeah, Supernova is getting a lot tankier now. He's picking up those items, and he is gaining that extra health from the Soul Furnace, which makes it slowly harder for Poppy. Oh, actually something might break down on the bot side because
something was going to go on bot. There might still be a play on the cards. Shogo was almost caught, but managed to flag and drag to safety on the bot side as Lee Sin came to collapse with Galio and Kai'Sa there as well with the overall vision of him. He was trying to set his own dive. Nothing looks like it's going to happen though, as people kind of dissipating. They're on the right side of the map in order to not be Yariating, I guess. I mean, that should be a new phrase. Yariating as well. In the early game, 3-4-2 minutes, you just randomly in the enemy jungle for them. We can add it to our last week. We had the Korean reject scale.
Oh yeah.
We have the Yariating. Every week we'll have a new swear one specific term.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh goodness me! Speaking of Yariat, as we are,
he's so far behind.
He's just. We were talking about the pressure that this Malzahar was going to create on the Corki and how Corki wasn't the best at clearing waves early. Corki's just a clean 30 CS above him at the 10-minute mark, 11-minute mark, and has a kill on him. As we see the engage coming in, Alpha grabs the quickening. Mammal is going to be taken low, but isn't actually going to go down too much. There wasn't really that much follow-up as Sugar wasn't there to give too much, and going next only really hit a couple of feathers, meaning that the explosive engage that we wanted to see kind of happened. Muppet looking to explode someone, and Shogo's going to be his target. He's going to be taken down to about half health. Teleport's coming in, that's quite interesting. Hench looking for the fight. As the other teleport comes in, both top lanes are going to be coming in. Supernova jumping straight into the fray where Hench is on the side. Now we've got 4-on-4 action in the bot lane as Yariet's coming down to make it a 5v4, meaning Wheatfish is the sad little man on his own in the mid lane. Prototype are going to need to start a fight if they want to not lose out here, because they're letting Corky just push mid. Garrett's walking back up there now. It looks like there was so much set up for a fight, but in the end, absolutely nothing happened.
What is surprising me most is that they are letting this Corky just do what he wants in the mid lane. If I'm turned to jungle main recently, and I've been playing a lot of Jarvan. If you see a Corky on that mid lane that is so far pushed ahead against a Malzahar, I would camp the living hell out of that mid lane, because Corky only has his W to pretty much escape, which also
looking for an engage. We'll miss his Q. Sorry for cutting you off. I saw it. I saw the headlines. Muppet gets the sick insect. He was recently retired, by the way. Sad times for any of you older League of Legends fans out there. But I do see
here we go again.
He's going to try it again. He's going to not land the kill again. Mabel goes forward, gets double taunt. They're going to kick back. The Ricard is going to jump away. But now going next to the one looking to fish the damage. Shogo's there. He's going to look for Cataclysm. Yarrick's there as well. He's going to see Yolanda coming in from Galley. He's not going to land knock on anyone but Shogo. Wheatfish grabs a massive kill onto Alpha, and the fight is going to continue. Mammal is very low. Shogo is going low. Wheatfish is still there. It's a 3-on-3, but Mammal and Yariet and Shogo are all pretty low. They're within depth. Doors rate. We're jumping top lane as Hedge goes forward and tries to get some damage onto Sion. Bot lane, it looks like recalls are coming down from the Prototype. Very well played from both sides. The kill is there as Mammal, Phyllis on Wheatfish. Wheatfish creating the most pressure. Going to go on to Yari. Yari's going to go very low. Phyllis is also going to grab that one up with the W. Huge amounts of damage there. Grabbing an extra kill for their self as they grab it. Now it's going to be 4 kills over on the side of Seadogs. Only 2 kills for Prototype. And now Seadogs definitely showing that they have domination on this bot side, and there is a dragon there if they want to try and go for it.
Oh, definitely. They don't want to give that extra ocean to the side of Prototype. And this is why I'm so baffled that they just let Wheatfish do what he wants in that mid lane as Corky. We have seen his Corky before, and it was so incredibly strong. And Corky is one of those champions that you can very easily gank as a Jarvan in the early game. Malzahar has 6. From the point that Malzahar turned 6, even though he was behind in the Corky, you should have just been mid all the time, sweeping the wards away, getting that pressure for the Malzahar, because he can then work with it. He is now 40 gold behind. He's sitting about on almost 2,000 gold deficit between him and the Corky, which is pretty much an item, which makes it even more scary, because Corky wants to get that ahead. And I just don't get why he didn't gank as much as Muppet did. Muppet was top, he has been mid, he has been bot. I think he's pretty much ganked almost every lane. However, I've only seen Shogo pretty much on the bot side, and with no well done ganks to where they would get a kill and would get an advantage. This is just going to put them so much further down, which you don't want.
You never want to be behind, but certainly you don't want to be behind against this team comp that's looking to get the domination on you relatively early on. Shogo's looking for a gank maybe onto Hench. Hench is lower than half health. Supernova is there as well. There's no ultimate for Hench at the moment, as he already used it to stop the recall from Supernova earlier. Shogo's going to look for the flag. He's not going to drag though, knowing that the W can come up from Poppy. He's going to Cataclysm, but a very good flash from Hench is going to force him away. Muppet is there as well, grabbing that Rift of Herring himself and his team, and escorting Hedge to safety. But Shogo might now be in trouble as it's a 2-on-1 there. Shogo is not very tanky at all. He's going to be forced to use that Damacy as a standard to get away. Muppet is chafing. But here as well. Muppet once again missing that Q from the Lee Sin. The Resonance he's been taking speculative Qs this game, and they haven't always paid off, or they haven't always landed. He hasn't put himself in really bad situations by doing it. But Shogo may be overextended a little bit, as Yariet might be the one who's in trouble under his own tower now, as Muppet is there, and there's spell shield on Yariet. We're jumping bot lane. I don't think anything's going to happen. Blade, what do you make of all that?
I just want to say that those Qs don't need to land. They're zoning Qs, you know that.
Zoning Q, yeah.
The zoning Sonic Waves, you know, just to get them out of position. Now, this is slowly starting to build out of control, but this is going to the side of Seadogs, which we also noted in the champion select a little bit. If that both teams would be insane if they got ahead, and we've thought about that you have to gank Wheatfish a lot, because it's a very easy gank potential when you have that Malzahar on the mid lane. It's just so easy to do, and he cannot get out of the Cataclysm. However, this bot lane needs to win at this point, because Corki is never going to leave mid at this point. He is not contested at all. He's not scared at all. If we look at the items, he has the Quicksilver Sash, which does help him a lot with the damage that Malzahar can put out in the early game. It doesn't really... Oh!
Up top, the Supernova is going to be chunked down to about half health. He starts those free chances, that's a lot of damage coming down onto him. They're going to grab him against to a wall, and he is going to be going very, very low. He's not returning any damage. Supernova is going to be going down. It's going to be Sahaj picking up that one. A nice gank there from Muppet, being able to take him forward and hit.
Oh, what is he doing?
Coming down, he's going to be going low. Muppet going to about half health there. As we see, Supernova trying to dive on from, but the Rift Controller is going to come down. They're going to be looking to grab the first tower of the game in this top lane as Hench and Muppet look to continue onto that one. There's not really going to be any play there for Prototype as they're looking to get bot tower, but Mammal and Philippa are going to be able to prevent too much of a push coming down. But Shogo is there. If that tower goes down, it's going to be really problematic. Philippa is going to be able to dash away from a lot of the CC, but the Cataclysm is going to land. She's down to jump away from that one. Mammal is tanky and not going low. Shogo's actually going low. He's going to go down. Philippa grabbing that kill. Kaiser showing why she made off. Mammal is going to be taking low. The Ignite ticking down. He's going to go down. It's going to be going next IRL, picking up a kill for herself. Her first of the game. Traded 1-for-1. The tower going down.
Teleport's coming down.
Oh, teleports are coming down. Are we going to see a continuation of this fight? As I tried to sum up, we're not going to see a continuation of this fight. You baited me. We see first tower going down over onto the side of Seadogs with a quick return and then trading kills, as we might actually see the fight coming down now. I've said that. As Hedge is going to be knocked up, he's quite tanky on Poppy. He's going to be using that to stop any dashing nonsense from the Rakan. As going next IRL tries to use those feather stuns up to Sahaj. Sahaj isn't going to care at all. Muppet coming in from the backside, looking to give some support to Philosopher and Sahaj. As we see the two lovebirds going at IRL and SS Alpha going back together. I ship it. Muppet throws a Q into a bush when he maybe could have seen where the Q actually being thrown. Shogo's there as well. He's not particularly tanky. But again, I feel like action's always on the brink of happening. But I'm going to let you talk, and then hopefully action won't happen while you're talking.
Probably, because so far it happened every time when I wanted to do something. And just point out, Lee hits another Q. Well done, Muppet. Well done, it's another Q, dude. I am still so flabbergasted that Seadogs was able to manage this around. But what I've noticed from Seadogs, this is what I talked about before. Their communication is very good. They know where they need to be. They're working together very well. It seems very practiced. They know how the other players on their team work and how they position themselves, because they're always able to react on a play that a Prototype is making, which allows them to gain a lot more advantage into the team fights where you would usually not expect it. Also, their dodging and weaving skills are just amazing. We just saw Hands on the top side, just being able to dodge everything from Shogo and Nova. Then Philosopher doing a perfect dodge, getting out of the Cataclysm, using his own killer instinct, and just running back into the fight as soon as Mammal used the heroic entrance. And yeah, if they really need to start getting some picks, and again, they need to get the Corki. I think we've seen one ultimate come out from Yariat, and that was in the team fight that got them one kill. Great, but you should get those solo laners. We have seen Poppy be alone in the lane so many times. Poppy doesn't have magic resist.
Jumping straight onto Rakan. Alpha's going to use the quick and try to get away. It's not going to be enough as those little lasers follow through, and Philosopher's going to be grabbing that one up. Another kill over onto the side of Seadogs, and that is now a 4.5k gold lead, almost 5k gold lead coming onto the side of Seadogs, and they're taking this game by the scruff of the neck and saying, we don't care about your draft. We're just going to come for you anyway. We're going to try and win this game anyway because we're just better individual players. And a question, Philosopher's Q, Price's Q, are they lasers? Are they missiles?
They're missiles. They're supposed to be little missiles, yes.
Little missiles, okay. So little magical missiles, or little K-pop missiles, basically.
Yeah, little shiny glitter bombs. Let's just call them glitter.
Glitter bombs. Okay, I like that. We can work with that. Supernova and Hench going at each other again the bot lane. Also, of course, going to get him away. I don't know if some really needed to hold him.
But I don't think he did.
Just a bit of safety. There's no worry in that. The package has been picked up by Weedfish, who might be looking to get something off the top against Yariat's team to start coalescing in the mid lane and in the top lane. Shogo's been... I want to talk about Shogo for a little bit before we get the next bit of action. What have you been thinking of the Jarvan play so far this game, if you've got any comments?
As a Jarvan player myself, I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest. He has barely been ganking from what I've seen. The ganks that he did were unsuccessful. give anyone anything pretty much. He has tried to be focusing on the bot lane, which I do agree with. However, that should only have been a focus in the early game because that bot lane was ahead. Bot lane had a lot of vision, so they were quite safe in the early game. Mid didn't have any vision on both sides. They couldn't predict any time when he was. He should have focused on the mid. Malzahar is the easiest mid laner to gank from level 6. He could just press R and someone is sitting there for you to hit. And he did do nothing with that. That would have helped Yariat to get a little bit ahead. There is this golden rule about not helping behind lanes, but this should have just... You know that Wheatfish is going to be good on this pick, and you want to shut it down, so he should have focused a lot more.
Don't gank losing lanes, it's an old adage, but sometimes you need to gank a losing lane, because sometimes it's just the objectively best thing to do. Hench is going to be taken... Actually, Hench is starting to maybe not win these fights as much as he wants to. He's going to get knocked up here as Supernova's going to fight him in a big minion wave. San bashing away at Poppy, use that unstoppable force. The Flash is going to come out to dodge it, and then he's going to be pinned against the wall. As Supernova's going to be knocked up by the ultimate, but Sir Alpha's going to be... Sir Alpha? SS Alpha's going to be the only person there to react. Sir Alpha, he's been knighted, confirmed. As Hench runs away. The Poppy versus San in the bot lane has got to a stage where it's got the Viper and seal of, this is not going to be interesting again this game unless someone makes a very bad misplay, because they're both too tanky and don't do enough damage to be relevant. As we're going to see the Baron maybe next started here, that's quite early, we're 22 minutes in, they're going to be swapped out. Philstorm up and Wheatfish are going to be there, Mammal coming in to make it 4 as Harriet and Mammal.
They're going to contest this, Muppet is pretty low, and they do have the Malzahar on standby.
We do have 4 members there. The only person they're missing, Yari is moving away though, so it might just be a 3v3 with Baron. His Muppet isn't that low to not want to take the fight. Yaria is just sitting around in the jungle. I don't know what he's doing. Going next IRL, trying to go next in terms of damage, getting some off their hedges there now. 5 members of both teams are looking towards the mid as we see OG Wheatfish looking for the flank. But Baron has been successfully stopped. It was an optimistic Baron. They were trying to be a bit sneaky about it. Luckily, there were people there to spot it out from prototypes. As they're just going to be forced away this mid lane, we might see a fight coming downhill. We might just see one of those resets where both teams look for the objective, don't get the objective, then kind of just stand around for 5 minutes when they decide to do the next objective.
I mean, I expected any action to pretty much be there on top side. It's just a fight of the noodle arms, you know, they don't do any damage, but they're tanky as all get out. And I expect that over the Baron, there will be a fight over the upcoming Dragon, because if we look at the side of SDS, they already have 2 Oceans at their disposal, which means the regeneration in the mid to late game will be so much stronger. We do, however, not know what the Dragon is going to be, because in the spectator client, the Dragon is actually bugged to where it will always be.
Drake.
Oh, look at that. That is actually so good for the side of SDS that they get it, but even better on the opposing side, because Malzahar is so slow from itself, and he could use a lot of the movement speed that the Air Drake will provide him to maybe go up and roam a little bit more, because he is almost getting to the point where he's now 80 farm, but he will soon be 100 farm behind Wheatfish. And again, no one is contesting Wheatfish. They always know that he is somewhere in the top side, and I'm just so surprised that nobody is going for it. Corki is not a split pusher, really. He doesn't do a lot of damage, but he cannot get out of continuous charges, and yeah, I'm just so disappointed that they don't focus on Wheatfish, knowing how good he can play on this pick.
Him do what he wants on this Corki is quite worrying. We're going to see, once again, Seadogs picking up that Dragon. That's their 3rd of the game, and the first Cloud Drake of the game. It's fortunate that there would be the Furtals on mountains coming down, otherwise there would be huge problems with Prototype. And when we talked so much about Prototype's draft being so good, and they seem to have won pick ban phase, but of course, you don't get any prize for winning the pick ban phase. Nope. And it looks like their composition isn't doing what they need to do at the moment. There hasn't been any of these big team fights that have been fought well enough in order for them to get the lead that they needed. Now they're going into the mid game, or they're very much in the mid game, moving towards the late game at an alarming rate, I would say, with not having any ability to play to their team's strengths. And that is going to be really problematic going through. And if they lose a Baron, and they've all started to decide to recall, well, we've got members of Seadogs all around the Baron pit looking for that vision, it can be pretty problematic.
Oh, that was a beautiful flash from Yari.
It was good.
However, they need a pick, because if they get a pick, I don't think Seadogs will be as confident or confident enough to try and take this Baron, especially if they take someone away like Philister or Wheatfish that deal most of the damage on the team. then they won't do it, which will mean that the game will go to a latent state. Someone on your team will be able to get that gold bounty, because if we look at the bounties, Wheatfish has 1,000 gold, Philister has 750 gold, which will be so big if someone like going next will get that just for an item, because they're even in items, but that will mean going next will be an item ahead of the Kaisa, and we'll be able to do a lot more in teamfight. And now we just see Hench making, I don't know, zombie meat burgers out of Supernova.
Not even making burgers, just tenderizing the meat a little bit. Like, again, it's just Poppy's not gonna be able to kill Assad at this stage. Assad's not gonna be able to kill Poppy at this point. Like, they're just kind of standing bot, and they're looking to get a little bit of pressure going on because you can't leave it uncontested. But neither of them's gonna do that much to the other one. So Poppy will have the better part of the push. So she's maybe got a little bit of advantage there. But the thing is, if either of them want to teleport into the fight, the other one can just stop the teleport. So while they both have TP, they're not even going to be able to use it that much. And it looks like Sir Henk is already looking for the kind of rotation onto his mid fight. We've got Yarrick on the top side as well for Prototype pushing in there. So it's a 1-3-1. But Prototype is going to be forced to go back to an old 5-man down the mid lane, and everyone looks to leave their side lane to come mid around his back.
This is going to not even be a 50-50 Baron. Actually, it might be, because top has a lot of pressure. They don't have any vision around Baron, which makes it a very risky pick. However, they do have that pressure on the top side. Both top laners have the teleport up, so that's always an option that can happen as well. And if they would go for this Baron with the pressure on top, it would have been a little bit problematic, because they could have gotten out a little easier, or they could have taken a turret in response while they were doing it. And this is why I like that they waited, which shows me that...
He's going in, he's going to kick Shogo back, but he's going to go down for his troubles. We're going to see a teleport coming in, as it looks like Poppy is going to join the fray. 4 versus 3 in the mid lane now, as we see the Corki has been off to the side, is still off to the side, and is looking to get some damage on that tower. Yarrick is going to be rotating there, though. Is he going to be able to land the ultimate onto Wheatfish?
Come on.
The tower. Wheatfish is going to be forced away. Silence onto the Corki. Yarrick is going to get damage on the
There we go.
There is the QSS that's been stopping so much. Now Alpha is looking to get something on. We're going to see Corki trying to use everything to get away. Flashes there. That's his last escape move. As Alpha looks forward to some damage, isn't going to get it. Meanwhile, first or a Mammal is going to be getting some free damage on this mid tower. You will rotate to kill the Corki. We're just going to get some damage on your tower. You don't even kill the Corki. So Hedge is there trying to knock someone away. Who's going to knock away? It's gonna be going next IRL. And now Supernova and Yarrick are going to be fighting the 3v2, which they're not going to want to take. But again, loading damage to Supernova at this point really just doesn't matter, because he's Sion. I don't know if anyone's told you this yet. Seadogs, it's a Sion. Don't kill damage him, because it doesn't matter. No one's going to bother doing that. But once again, we just see kills going down to both sides. But advantage again has to go down to the Seadogs, who get an extra objective off it.
They should have done this play around minute 15, maybe 14 even, where Wheatfish was a lot weaker and a lot less escaped, and was, again, pushing in the side lanes, where he was completely unwarded and free to gank, and they just didn't. Now that they have so much pressure on the map, Seadogs can easily take something in response, as they just go and chase out Wheatfish so far. It's just so unfortunate, because Wheatfish is slowly getting to that point where he will be able to do so much damage against Yarrick, take Yarrick out of the fight, and give them pretty much a free Baron, because then it will be a 4v5 with a Corki and a Kaisa with 3-0 I might add, and that will start become so scary. Not only that, but Yarrick isn't tanky. He does have that upgraded Saracen Brace, which does allow him to get a little shield, but the shield will only be for so long. He doesn't have anything like the Lot of Ages that gives him the extra health, or that gives him the extra mana, so if they're able to use his abilities more. He doesn't go really for the damage route, where he would go something like the Morellonomicon and the Luden's Echo. The only thing he's doing is building HP, and that is usually good, but not when you're behind. Then you're gonna do squad in the team fight, because you literally do no damage. While Corki has an Infinity Edge, he has a Trinity Force, he has the Zeal. That dude is like triple the damage that the Malzahar can bring in the team fight, which is not what you want if you're playing Malzahar in the mid.
You don't want Malzahar mid to be doing no damage, because then you're losing out on a carry, and we can see Wheatfish is definitely being carried. Baron is being started, Fiddlestorm, Mammal, Moffat, Wheatfish, they are all there. And Prototype, they're not seeming to respond at all. They want their blue buff. We're going to see Alpha being the one to go in and finally see what's going on. Potentially, it might be too late. Shogo's there as well. He's going to be taunted up, but the Baron is going to be secured by Moffat, but now the fight's going to be kicking off. Now, Alpha in the middle, getting those stunts, and the Cataclysm are coming down, but Alpha is breaking through. Wheatfish comes through. We're going to see the ultimate coming through from Mammal. Yarrick's already dead. Shogo's already dead. Supernova is running away with his head between his legs, unstoppable force taking him away. But now, 5 members of Seadogs getting the Baron, looking to push forward, going next IRL and Supernova are going to be the only 2 ready to watch this go through from being alive, and they're going to be pushing down the mid lane, trying to get the first inhibitor of the game.
And this is what we said countless times now in this cast. The communication on the side of Seadogs is so far much superior than the side of Prototype. This seemed like one member on the side of Prototype said, yeah, let's go contest. And the 2 were like unsure and just following him, and the other 2 were like, no. Because we didn't see Going Next even make it to the team fight. They already went in without one of their main damage dealers being there, which already put them at a really bad line.
As Poppy is going to be going in to slay Alpha, Supernova, Sugar, and Next IRL are looking to do what they can to save their last Nexus down. As Muppet is bashing away there, there's another minion wave coming in. Cannon there with the Baron buff. Sugar goes straight to the village, going to be kicked away, he's going to be talked up, he's going to be taken down! Fiddler's grabbing now, Weaver's going to go low using a disco cleanse to cleanse nothing into a kill. The Hench is in the background, he is so tagging out, it's not going to matter. He's going to jump onto the Zarya. Zarya's going to go down, go next IRL, is going to be going next IRL right now! As we see Seadogs at the 32-minute mark, grabbing the win over Prototype.
Yeah, this is, again, the Seadogs counter. They are superior in communication. They are superior in the team play. They might not per se be better players. However, the way they play with each other shows the amount of experience that the team has as a whole. And it just is so sad that Shogo pretty much was invisible most of the game. Yes, he did push pressure on a lot of points. However, he almost did nothing in terms of working around their best picks. Like, his damage is so low. Even if you look at Yariot, Corki has pretty much double his damage, even more. He has more damage. Even Yariot has even more damage than the Jarvan, who was in a lot more skirmishes. Yes, he was not building damage, but you should still get around that 7k mark with a Jarvan around 30 minutes. And this just is so unfortunate to see. But the thing that might surprise me most is that on the side of Seadogs, Sir Hans has done the most damage out of everyone.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. That's very interesting to see. Of course, the Poppy was constantly being in the lanes against the Scion. And I think maybe what we're seeing is if you're building like you're building a health tank on Scion, you're just a big bag of meat. And Poppy was just smacking away at that meat. It's like a scene from Rocky where you've just got the guy in the meat locker just punching away. Okay, this is your challenge in the chat right now. I want a gif of someone punching a bag of meat with Poppy's face on it. Bonus points if it's Sir Hench's face, actual face. Just punching away at a big bag of meat in a freezer somewhere. Because the Poppy's gonna do more damage in the early game. We saw Sir Hench getting that solo kill early on to the San, very well played, getting more kills over there when the ganks came. But just creating good pressure in the side waves, pushing up the San, knowing that I'm gonna jump onto the San and try and do damage. I'm not gonna kill the San at this point because he's a big health tank, but still going to be creating a lot of pressure. And I think we didn't really talk about how much pressure this Poppy pick was creating in this game at all, because it kind of was a quiet pressure that it's not the explosiveness of Weedfish, who was just uncontested mid lane doing everything. It wasn't the Kaiser going and blowing people up. It wasn't Muppet missing every single Q that he throws that game. It was just a quiet rundown by Sir Hench that maybe didn't win them the game, but certainly made the win much more secure and much more safe for Seadogs.
Yeah, that's very true. Their win was just very well deserved, as we said before. The draft, I think, of Prototype is still better, because if you go behind on the side of Seadogs with that draft, you will be in so much trouble. However, because they were able to work around everything, they were just able to do so much more with that comp, and they were just able to take the game fully because of their whole team play, basically. However, if you would have to give someone the player of the game here, who would you give it to? Because I think this is more a team game than someone who really did great.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team. I'm looking at what. That's a tricky one. It was definitely a team. Maybe I would have to probably give it to Philistor. Honestly, when Prototype looks the most threatening, were these plays, these skirmishes bot, this fighting bot. With the Zyra Khan, you would see the Sugar coming in. But every single time that happened, Philistor was escaping. Philistor was outplaying, getting those slight dodges, getting out the Cataclysm, using that Kaiser ult to just dash away or just to use a little bit of a speed up to dodge that last bit of CC. And I think it's difficult to say one person, obviously, because everyone played pretty well in that game. You could even say, like, Muppet, his score looks worse. Sometimes it was questionable. But even then, like, his domination of objectives, getting Rift Herald, 4 dragons, Baron as well, was never really contested on anything past the first dragon.
Mhm.
Like, even he was playing very well. Mammal engages were good. Weedfish, obviously, we talked about. Hench's split pushing, we talked about. Everyone did really well on Seadogs. It was just a very well-rounded performance from them.
So I'm gonna go on a limb here. First, I wanted to actually say Hench, but I'm gonna change my vote to Mammal. For the reason Mammal was, yes, he might have given away the first blood because the burst of Zaya on level 2 is so big with Rakan. However, Mammal was always threatening. He was always on the places where he needed to be, having that taunt ready for use. All of his heroic entrances were very well timed. They were always on point, getting at least two knockups plus. I haven't seen a point where he used it and he got less than one knockup. They were always able to work off of that knockup. Were able to disposition the prototype lineup, and were able to go further than if they would have taken something like a Lulu or something to protect OG Wheatfish and Philister. So I definitely want to give props to Mammal in this case.
Yeah, he did definitely play very well on this Galio pick and proved that sometimes it doesn't need to be the Zaya Rakan love story. The real love story was Kaiser Galio all along. We're going to jump into a short break, ladies and gentlemen, but don't you go anywhere, because when we come back, we are going to... Well, I say we. Blade's going away. He's out.
No, I'm not allowed.
He's out of here. CJ's going to be back with me for the next game, and it's going to be a huge top-of-the-table clash. Raw Reapers are going to be taking on actually CBA, so make sure that you don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very soon. But for me and Blade right now, it's going to be a see you later.
CA taking my spot. See you later.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the SQ1 Champions League Week 7, Day 1, Match 2. It's going to be a big one. Raw Reapers versus CBA. I am, of course, Will Viper and Whittaker, but I'm back for a second game, and I'm joined by CJ. So good, they named him 3 times. CJ, how you doing?
I am super pumped for this particular match, dude. We're back with this specific time of day and day of the week from 7 till 8 on Tuesday. The Viper and CJ hour, the only time that we're ever here, and it's the best hour of the show, let's be honest. So, I'm popping off for this one. This is going to be really tight, I hope. I think the Raw Reapers have looked super good so far, and CBA, they came in a little afterwards. They've always been kind of hovering under there, but they've got such strong players that I think they could absolutely pull out some sort of crazy just steamroll at any point, and I think that Raw Reapers are going to have their work cut out to them to maintain their winning streak.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. Both these teams are very, very capable. Top of the table kind of fodder, looking for good playoff berths, are looking to really stamp their domination on this league. And we are jumping straight into picks and bans. We don't mess around
No
here.
hesitation, no
As I said
delays.
last game, we're getting into this one.
Oh my god, no delays.
Well, I say no delays, but last time we cast, we had 17 minutes of delays.
Oh yeah, let's not jinx it.
And it was really wrong.
Oh,
Vayne
dear.
is going to be the first ban here, as we see bad move from Vayne God. Elise also going to be bad. Do you think we'll ever see a game where Vayne God actually gets Vayne?
Well, I think if we do, then the other team is 100% at fault here. I mean, the guy, all he has to do is spend the RP to change his name, and he probably wouldn't get this happening so much. But I mean, if he wants to be called Vayne God, he's gonna have to see that Vayne first ban over and over. If you look at the Elise ban as well that's come in against DEA, it's a good ban, but a player like DEA, it's so hard to ban them out. As this is, I had a whole thing that I was going to go into before we started Champ Select about how great Raw Reapers was, and we're just going to have to kind of skim through that here. But DEA has such a wide champion pool of styles and champions with the Elise and Gragas, and you've got the Rek'Sai, and you've got the Karthus. Like, this guy is really hard to ban out. So I think that you really just have to kind of pick what you think is the worst, the one thing you don't want to deal with, and you're just going to have to suffer through the rest, because this is such a strong player.
He is one of the premier junglers I think we have in SQ1. I think it's fair to say.
For sure.
Very, very strong player. Sejuani, Fresh, Sivir, Twisted Fate being banned away. I wonder, maybe is that a target? I would guess, because Twisted Fate's not really that strong a pick at the moment.
I feel like it's got to be a target ban, right? Twisted Fate is by no means meta. He's not been notably buffed, particularly recently. The items don't particularly like massively synergize with him better than anyone else. I think they just have to have some intel on Omena here. He's another guy that has really, really deep champion pool. We've seen him dominate on the Heimerdinger, seen him on the Ahri, even pulling out things like the Aurelia. This is another really versatile player. So I guess, like say, they just really don't want to deal with that global pressure from the Twisted Fate, which is an understandable ban. The other bans from Raw Reapers are more normal. We've got the Sejuani, classic tank jungler, and then the Thresh, very strong playmaking support. It's interesting, Clean by Cody does have a very strong Thresh, but they have picked the Morgana for him already. So they've got pretty much one of the two major pick champions. They've got Morgana, they've taken away Thresh, and we know that Clean by Cody and Yoshi love to play this lane-dominant playmaking style, and looks like they might lock in a Lucian to really cement that one in for us.
Yep, there it is, the lock-in for the Lucian. That's going to be a bot lane that's going to want to do so much damage in the early game. It's going to be so oppressive if they can land that pick, if they can land that binding. We've got the Jason and the Caitlyn on the other side. Caitlyn can be a little bit of a safer pick in the bot lane, that long range, and being able to do quite a lot of damage, put those traps out as well. To get a lot of damage, and with the new crit item changes, she's coming back. She's a bit of a force now, whereas before she was a bit problematic. And then we see the Jarvan 4, the flexible pick, could be jungle. We saw it jungle last game, not being played too effectively by Prototype, but again, could also go top, could be go mid. You say oof, but I watched the whole of last game, so
yeah,
I can say that with authority that it was not played to the best of ability last game. Lissandra being the last pick of the first round as we jump into the second round of bans.
Was a bit of a deserved oof, you are correct. The Jace, I think both this Lissandra and the Jace are definitely flex picks here as well. We've seen that both Reprobate and Zhejiang Top both have a lot of Jace in their match history, and Lissandra obviously very competent in that top lane as well, just pushing the lane, staying safe, and using that mobility in CC to play off the gank. So it'd be interesting to see who they choose to pilot this Lissandra and who gets the Jace. One of them is definitely a more dominant kind of kill searching lane in this Jace. The other one, bit more of a lane push, bit more helping the rest of your team, maybe rotating for your jungler. So we'll have to see who wants the carry and who wants to support out of these two solo laners. If we look at the bans that have been taken away here, the Sivir was the last ban for the side of CBA, so that's an interesting one for Yoshi, considering he has in fact gone for that Lucian. So Sivir is actually not a decent, or sorry, it is a decent pick against the Lucian, so it's kind of taken away a little bit of an option there, but Sivir obviously a very strong carry, and Yoshi very good on those as well, so just want to take away that option for him back in that first phase. The Sylas and Ori going towards Omena is interesting. I haven't seen him on the Sylas yet, but given how deep his pool is, I would not be surprised if he was good at it. And I am not surprised to see that Rek'Sai locked in for Kingan. I think this is a good pick for him. I think he's seen a lot of Rek'Sai play himself, and it takes it away from DEA. Like you said, the Jarvan could be flexed into that top lane, and DEA on Rek'Sai is an absolute force of nature. So taking that one away very strong, very nice champion in this patch after the recent buffs.
It looks like Raw Reapers were watching the last game, and now we're going to see Omena wants to be Weedfish, picking up that Corky pick.
Don't we all?
I mean, it's... Yeah, I'm a jungler, so I don't really want to be a good Corky player, but... it's always nice to have those options as well. Clean by Cody is going to be the last pick coming forward. The Rek'Sai, obviously, it became very strong on 9.4, where it got all those buffs. Nocturne's going to be locked in to finish that one out, meaning that Jarvan 4 will probably be going top. But I have seen Nocturne top in the past, so could be anyone's game, really.
True enough. Both the supports, the poke supports, Karma and Zyra taken away by Royal Reapers to go on top of that Thresh support. So they really want to give this bot lane a matchup that they can abuse using Morgana's range. They really don't want to have to trade as Morgana. If you miss that binding, you really don't have any other tools to trade with your opponents. So I like the Nami pickup. It's pretty much the only one left. You could take a Nami or maybe a Brand. Those are the two champions that can really stack up to this Morgana in terms of poke war in lane. Nami and Caitlyn very strong. The slow coming off from that E, abusing the fact that Caitlyn has very long range and the headshots means that you can get that slow going very early on from a very respectable range. So once you get that slow going, that helps you combo into the Nami bubble, which combos into the Caitlyn trap, and you can set up a vicious damage combo here. So Yoshi is going to have to be on his toes. He does have the Lucian. He's got the dash. Doesn't have as good range on his auto attacks. He's going to have to be wary of all these things flying at his face. But hopefully Clean by Cody can make some good use of that Black Shield as well. So this bot lane is actually very skill intensive from what I can see here. There's a lot of very minor skirmishes and fights that are going to be happening as to who hits what exact skill shot. If you can break through that Black Shield early, you can maybe get that bubble, or maybe start off with a slow before they expect it and then get this chain CC in. It's really going to be very tight here. We know that these are both very strong bot lanes. Vayngod and Yoshi are incredibly dominant AD carry players. So I think this is going to be really exciting to see. I want to see if the junglers can affect this one. DEA has a much easier route to do that with that Nocturne. You just got to press R. You just got to press R, and then you press it again, and you come in, and the Navi is probably going to blow up post 6. Kingan does have a little bit more work to get over those walls and get a nice gank path, but we know he is proficient on this champion. So I have no doubt he'll be able to have a pretty big impact in this game.
Yeah, there's going to be a big impact coming in from him. Both sides, obviously. I like both of these drafts. It's not like last game where one of the drafts was very strong, one of the drafts was very mixed match. Let's just play our best champions. And then the mixed match, let's play our best champions, went on 1. So, I mean, shows how much drafting actually matters. But yeah, this bot lane is going to be very skill intensive, but we've seen Yoshi is cool and Vayngod are both very skillful players. The Lucian's obviously going to have to put himself in more harm's way in order to get the damage out. Caitlyn can be very safe, and with the Nami, there's going to be more sustain. But Lucian's also going to have maybe a little bit more pick potential with that Morgana. So it's going to be really cool to see how the Nocturne and the Rek'Sai kind of try and play around bot lane, if they decide to do that at all, or if they're going to try and go elsewhere. Jason, Jarvan 4, obviously, both champions that are going to be able to go at each other in the top lane as well from the get-go, both of which have abilities to jump in, dive in, do damage to each other. And in the mid lane, Lissandra, Corki. Corki, again, as we saw last game, not the best wave clear, potentially, but a lot of poke damage coming through onto the opposing laner who maybe wants to push up. And Lissandra obviously has the ability to engage, ability to disengage, set up ganks. It's going to be really interesting to see. And the fact that we don't have any of this kind of normal ganking jungle. We've got the Rex, obviously, who's very good at coming in with those tunnels and getting knockouts, but Nocturne may be a little bit different to what we normally see here in Square One, where people prefer these kind of very enabling junglers from what we've seen, rather than these kind of assassin-y jumping in, doing loads of damage, maybe getting a little bit tanky as well, kind of fighters that Nocturne is. Nocturne's a bit of a weird one in that he kind of sits all over the shop, depending how you build him.
It's very interesting. This is a team comp, or both team comps, I should say. This is probably one of the lowest CC games I've ever actually seen in Square One. If we go down the teams into what hard CC they can actually offer, Jarvan's got his flag and drag, which is very nice there. Nocturne has the single fear, but that's a delayed reaction. A flash can get you out of that quite easily. And then you've got the Morgana stun and ultimate from Clean by Cody. So that's maybe 2.5 pieces there. And then on the side of CBA, you've got the Unburrow from Rek'Sai. That's one knockup. You've got Lissandra, which is very nice. And then you've basically got Nami, as the Caitlyn traps aren't really consistent to be able to use on their own. They only kind of extend a CC chain combo that's been set up by someone else, assuming the other team is actually looking where they're going, which at this point, you know, I'm going to have to assume that they will do this. So there's a lot of damage on both teams. There's not a huge amount of CC, and I think that's where something like Omena's Cleanse, it goes surprisingly far. In a game where every champion has a CC ability, having Cleanse doesn't necessarily help you that much. When you're getting chained out, you know, you cleanse one Lissandra ultimate, and then you've instantly been Malzahar ulted or something, and it doesn't really help. But now, when you can cleanse out that one piece of hard CC that they can offer to you, and you can still keep going, you get a huge amount of value out of it. And Corki's damage, I think, is still a little underrated in general. The character can pump out so much DPS once he hits that Triforce Infinity Edge combo, as we saw Weedfish doing last game. So these people are going to be... the teams play in quite a different style, but it's mostly very down to their personal positioning and their personal use of abilities in this fight. It's not so much of an easily executed combo from either side. So this is quite a skillful matchup, and I kind of like to see this against these top of the table teams. I kind of want to see them just going, "Oh, I'm gonna play a champion that I'm comfortable with, and I'm just gonna outplay you, get an advantage. I'm gonna snowball it through." I'm pretty excited for this one.
It's going to be a really exciting game. We are on the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for our last game of the day. On the blue side, we have Royal Reapers, Awaken in the top lane, DEA in the jungle, and Mena in the mid lane, with Yoshi is cool and Clean by Cody in that bot lane. And over on the red side, we do have actually CBA, Reprobate in the top lane, Kingen in the jungle, Zizang top is actually in the mid lane, which is kind of a lie on his name, but that's fine. Vanguard at Marksman and Zerg on support, as we see Royal Reapers looking to make moves into the enemy jungle, but they're going to be spotted out by a ward, and the Nocturne throwing his Q forward anyway, just to get a little bit of attempted damage. Not going to do too much. They're just going to try and get some wards in and back away.
Yeah, it's a good decision by them. They've got the Morgana binding, very reliable level 1. That is going to get matched. It means that actually CBA are going to take the opportunity to get some vision on that top side. Very nice, so they'll be able to track DEA early. It's quite useful to do. I think that Kingen is definitely in a stronger position pre-6. Nocturne really wants to power farm up to that level 6 so he can start abusing the ultimate, whereas Kingen on this Rek'Sai has a lot more potential impact that he can have with that unburrow and the true damage that he can get on his Q. So I think that Kingen, if he can track DA, he can possibly invade his jungle and get a nice early advantage himself, shoving DA off his farm or potentially even getting an early first blood if he plays his cards right. So I like this choice to get vision in that top side. Is going to be matched by a little pixel brush ward there from Awaken to catch them if he tries to invade. So they've thought of that one, and you might see a little early clash by junglers if they're both aware of where the other jungler is, but neither of them are aware that the other jungler knows that they are aware. They could see some little awkward rush dances maybe where both are trying to trap each other. We'll see if they choose to take that fight or if DA wants to go to the farm war as we come into the regular lane here. I think for the bot lane, while we're looking at them, is definitely in the favor of Caitlyn and Nami early on. I think that Nami is a super strong champion level 1 to 3. All of her abilities have so much extra value compared to Cody, who really just has the binding. That's the only really strong ability he's got right now. And as it's dodged out by there, you just kind of walk away, and Caitlyn can abuse this range early on. So I think they're going to get that level 2, get that farm lead, get the push on. They've got wards in that river as well as you can see. So I like the way that R&R are doing this bot side of the map. Just abusing their strong matchups, getting nice vision, trying to get themselves a nice early lead to get early items, maybe get even more advantage.
Yeah, Clean by Cody and Yoshi is cool. They're going to have a bit of a struggle in this bot lane if they're not too careful with Zerg and Vanguard being down there, already looking to get the push on in. We haven't seen anything in terms of the junglers going at each other, and the wars have all expired that they placed in that top side, meaning that no one's going to have the vision advantage if there is a fight up there. And it looks like they're not anywhere near each other to get a fight anyway. Yoshi's cool and Clean by Cody trying to get a little bit of return damage, but they're still going to be losing out on these trades this early on, unless Clean by Cody can really pull out the stops in terms of getting some snare and damage. DEA looking to get the first gank of the game as the flagging drag goes around past him. He's not going to knock up Reprobate, but he's going to get him behind. Reprobate is going to be using that acceleration gate to accelerate out of trouble. And it looks like the first gank is going to come to nothing as Nocturne moves back into his jungle to grab his blue buff, which was warded out, but it's not going to be contested by Kingen, who's on the bot side contesting his Crux.
He decides to hold his flash there. I think he definitely could have gotten Reprobate's flash if he chose to flash in and use the fear. And it's an arguably a good trade for him if he can get that Jace's flash early using his own, when he knows that he's not usually planning to have a huge amount of impact fighting early on. He really just wants to farm, and as long as he can track Kingen, he's not going to have to worry about that one, so his flash isn't as important, whereas getting away from that Jace can be actually really beneficial for Awaken in this matchup, where he can actually secure himself a kill when he has Jarvan's early lane strength, and also could keep him safe if Reprobate gets the advantage. So looks like DA is actually going to make for a return gank here.
Looks like he is. Reprobate is down there, and he's going to be looking to use that acceleration gate once again to get away from him. DA is obviously listening, gets the flash, gets the fear. Reprobate is going to try and flash away, but he might not have enough. First blood going down is going to be taken away by Awaken, who wakes up to the first blood here. Actually, Yoshi is cool. Is going to be knocked up by Kingen. The flashes are going to be exchanged. Kingen is going to be taken low. The ignite is going to be dripping onto him. He stands on the trap. He is knocked back. The damage comes out. Clean by Cody getting ignited. Clean by Cody getting shot directly in the skull. Going to go down there. Vanguard proving that he is in fact the Caitlyn God, picking up that one. 1 kill apiece at the 4-minute mark.
You can see how much damage this Caitlyn Nami can pump out, because Caitlyn got the trap combo and the E net combo as well onto Lucian. That's where he got the 2 bonus shots, but it was still clean by Cody that was the one going down. He was also brought super low just by the fact that Nami and Rek'Sai were already there, where Lucian was the one being aggressed on. That's how much damage they can pull out. They basically almost killed both of them. Very nice use of Kingan's flash there, burning out Yoshi's summoners. Super tight, avoiding that bubble with that heal very close, but this is exactly what they want. You can look at this CS lead now, 37 CS up. Plus that kill, that's going to be a nice BF sword there. And I think that Yoshi is going to find himself being a little bit abused early on. He's gone for that Doran shield, so I think he knew it was coming. But this is not the usual thing we see out of him. Normally we see these guys dominate in this lane. So it's a very strong sign for CBA that they are able to match up against Royal Reapers, who sometimes it looks like they haven't been challenged in this league, but they've definitely got a fight on their hands here.
Absolutely, they have a fight on their hands here as actually CBA. Of course, we can't just talk about this bot lane fight. There was the top lane. Awaken grabbing the first blood away with a nice gank from DEA. Junglers basically moving into lanes and getting themselves advantages up there. Awaken, they're pretty much even off farm, but he has got that first blood goal, which should allow him to be a little bit scary. And we see the Jace picking up the colours. DEA looks to get another gank back. There is a ward there though, so they're going to see him. He's not going to be able to get too much rep rate standing a little bit far back. He hasn't got flash, remember, so he's going to be looking to play a little bit safely, but flashes have been burnt all over the map right now. So we see Zhang top taking a little bit of damage in that mid lane, and that is karma for not being top lane in this game. Like, simple as that. You're going to be called Zhang top, go top. Don't be Zhang mid.
But don't be tricking us here. You know?
Don't be.
Just not
We've
nice.
been lied to before. I don't like it. Being God being being put to a little bit poke. I can't decide how unprofessional I want to be.
Just like a little, you know,
a little bit.
Like save it for the UKLC. Oh, that's a nice binding on there.
Yoshi is cool if you allow that one. The UKLC won't put me on camera because of my unprofessional.
Yikes.
Yikes. Just flaming. I'm just getting my P45 in the middle.
Normally we're flaming the teams. Today we're flaming each other. You know,
I'm just flaming myself. Like it's not even. It's not even real.
Okay, let's get back in here.
Let's
Looks
get
like
back to it.
Jijang top is looking to go towards his top sign, but a nice pink ward in that pixel is going to spot it out. Jarvan waiting for him to come up, knows he's there, isn't going to get caught by this one. Pops that emote just to let him know that he has been read like a book. Goes back to his lane, and that is a pretty even top lane overall besides that gank. Yeah, Awaken getting a nice help out. Normally Jace would be the one taking a farm lead abusing the range that he has, but DA ganking and pressuring top a huge amount, honestly. Went there 3 times before 6. He does now have that 6, and you can see him waiting in that brush just for a single opportunity to arise. CBA has all their summoners, it must be noted. Doesn't have that much damage yet. He's only got that long sword, so the ultimate isn't going to do a huge amount. They really need a binding to land here. Lucian is not going to be pumping out that much damage. Neither is Cody, really. Doesn't have his ultimate. Here we go.
Yeah, and here we go. Who's he going on? He's going on to Vengor. Vengor's going to be taking quite a load of damage. Is coming through. Zerg is also less than half health. We're going to see the teleport coming in from behind. Vengor is going to go down. The clean by Cody getting the clean kill. Zhang Top is taking a lot of damage on the flip side. He's going to go down instantly on the teleport. DEA is also very low. Kingan is going to be caught in the cataclysm, but he doesn't mind. He's at home there as we see Zerg being slain down by clean by Cody. Kingan is going to grab a kill of his own, though. Awaken taking that kill. 4 kills to 2 over on the side of Royal Reapers. They've now got 3 men on this bot side, and they've only got 1 man dead right now. Are they going to look for the dragon, or are they going to look for some tower plates?
That was a very close fight there coming down. I'm just actually scrolling back just to check exactly where Jijang Top's ultimate went. He'd already used it, so he didn't have it for this fight. That is so crucial. When he went in and was on top of 4 members, got them all so low, but didn't have that extra button to press, he would have cleaned up at least 2 with it and kept himself alive there with the health. So that's super critical he didn't have it. And then the ultimate, as I said, came out, didn't do huge amounts of damage to Vanguard, but it seems like he just kind of turns his brain off a little bit and doesn't kite back whatsoever. He gets a trap onto the Nocturne, but doesn't keep kiting it back, even though he knows that his team is rotating in. So he dies out when he probably didn't need to, and that is going to help it go over to the favor of Royal Reapers. The kills do go majoritively onto Clean by Cody though, so it's not too bad. He's going to invest himself into the mobility boots, maybe try and find his way around the minions to get some more bindings onto the spot lane, but really that could have gone better for the side of Royal Reapers. Could have had the gold on better targets, but I think it absolutely should have gone worse for them. I think the Vanguard could have lived there, and Jijang Top very unlucky not having that ultimate, committing to that 1v4 without the tools to actually win it. A little bit of a panic button maybe, just really wanting to stay in this game, not given the leads up that they already built themselves. It's not really panned out for them here. So this is where we see the Royal Reapers the composure coming in there. Such a strong team. They know how good they are, and these are not guys to panic under pressure. They're able to execute their plays. They know what their win condition is. They've got this Nocturne early on. All they have to do is just chill out, keep the farm as even as possible, and then play off these Nocturne ults. And I think that CBA are going to need to be a little bit more calm, a little bit more stable when they see this happening. When they have a lead like they do, where they can actually launch a counterattack if they execute properly.
And it should be important to note that when Zizang Top decided to teleport, the Corki was just standing pretty near to him. So managed to get a good amount of damage in as the Paranoia comes in. Vengard is already going very, very low. Vengard is already dead as she goes down. The flash is going to be traded there as Zerg decides to make his escape after his marksman dies. Another kill going over. The Paranoia being used again very effectively. And now there is complete domination over on the bot side for Reapers. And they might be looking to get something off this. And it looks like Dragon is going to be their next target.
Looks like DEA just picks a lane and he says, I'm going to gank this lane over and over until it wins. He did it with top lane, and now he's done it with bot lane. The only one left is
going real low. He might be going down. He might not be needed.
Oh.
There's no need for DEA in this mid lane as Amena picks up a solo kill, grabbing that one for himself. No assistance required. 6 for 2 over to Royal Reapers. They've got a 1.5k gold lead at the 10-minute mark.
There's that Corki damage coming in just with the Salt Shoots machine. Oh, here's a dive.
Another kill. Awaken is going to be using that stopwatch. Rev Rate doesn't care about being trapped in here, but he might care about the tower. He's going to be taken very low. He's going to survive. The minions are doing their best to avenge Awaken, and it's going to be another Awaken is actually going to get that kill, featuring all the minions. Give them an assist on the scorecard as Kingan is pretty low, but we'll be looking to get those tower plates. Very well played from Awaken initially, good reflexes, and then maybe a bit of a brain turn off from Reprobate.
Yeah, I think he just got a little bit careless there, went back through, expected there to be minions to save him, and sadly was not. Gives the gold away. Awaken gets a nice trade there, even after they managed to secure that kill, so not ideal there. CBA with another little slip up. Looks like Royal Reapers are just playing a little cleaner, as I was saying. And yeah, Jijang having a little bit of trouble in this mid lane. Maybe he should have been top lane, you know, not win mid lane, then
maybe he's top.
Just saying.
Meta top.
Maybe they should get Jijang mid in here as their team for the next one. He's getting pushed out so much. Look at this damage here. Mena can just run straight up to him and just auto-attack him. And he's doing more damage than Jijang's Qs are. Like, that's just such a rough position
looks
here.
Looks like he might be going for the kill.
Kingan though.
Yeah, Mena might have to be a little bit careful, but he's not going to be putting too much pressure. Just blows up Zizang Top, who was looking for the engagement. Now we're going to see more action as we did a Binding Land. Zerg's going to go down. The Ignite was popped just before he went down, but now Yoshi's cool is the one who's getting ignited. He is on fire, and not in a good way. He managed to get away at less than 50 health as Vengard might be in trouble. Vengard has to be more paranoid than that as he goes down. Kingan is there. The Land Shark versus the Knight, they're coming through, but now Morgana is turning up. Kingan going to be taken low as he's going to use his ultimate. The Zonya's stopwatch stopping the ultimate coming through. Kingan is going to turn tail and run to his tower. DEA doesn't want the dive. Clean by Cody. Looked like he wanted a little bit more, but it's not going to come through. More kills from Royal Reapers. They are taking this game by the scruff of the neck and grabbing a free kick goal lead.
That is a very nice use of the stopwatch there. I love to see an early stopwatch play on Nocturne just for that exact reason. You're so strong with your diving potential. If you have stopwatch to avoid that kind of counter gank or to reset the tower aggro, you can walk away with such a nice extra gold lead there. He came back just to finish off Vengard. They'd already taken down the Nami with a nice binding from Team by Cody. He has been very proficient on these ones so far. It looks like Royal Reapers are snowballing this one. They're feeling so confident, and even though CBA at the start of the game, they were using their winning lanes to pressure out the side of Royal Reapers. As soon as Royal Reapers have any kind of gold advantage, they are taking it, as you say, they're taking it by the scruff of the neck. They know exactly when they can win these fights, and they are just taking it all the way to CBA. They are stepping up and saying, I dare you to fight me, I've got the money, I know I can win this one. And CBA, it looks like they're just kind of saying, okay, let's fight. And then, you know, now Jijang's died 3 times, and bot lane's getting constantly dove by DA. Reprobate can't make anything happen in the top lane, and this is not a team that scales insanely well. The Jace doesn't have a huge amount of impact there. Jijang's not going to be doing insane damage for a long time at this rate, being this far behind. Have to see if they can contest this Rift Herald. All tries it.
Not going to be able to. Welcome to the arena, says Awaken. Going to be taking down Reprobate. DEA grabbing that kill. And now it's going to be Kinkan in there. It's going to be forcing to tunnel away as Zizang Top comes in to cut off any attempts at a follow there. Another kill and Rift Herald going over to the side of Royal Reapers. And you've just got to ask, what are we going to see here from CBA? They've already got 3 plates down to the 6 of Royal Reapers. I'm being told by our production team. Thank you very much for those stats coming down. Vayngod is going to try and get some headshots off Yoshi is cool, trying to get up into his face and use those guns, as we all know he can. I said a Mena top, it's Zizang top versus the Mena. I'm getting shook. Zizang Top's actually got me through a loop right now, and I don't like it.
I think that what we need to see here is we need to see Zizang Top just following plays and just abusing his CC to try and play out of the characters that are strong, which right now in the game, that's Kingen. I need to see Kingen pulling out the damage. We've seen how much damage he can do. He almost managed to take down DEA if it wasn't for that locket earlier, or that stopwatch I should say. So when they went to that Rift Herald fight, it was a 3v2, and Reprobate and Kingen were into contest, but they were just outnumbered, while Zizang Top is just pushing the mid lane into the tower. He's not gotten any plates for it. He needs to be with his team to support them with that CC chain. They do have half-decent damage on their champions at this stage in the game, but they need that CC. Like I said, this is a very low CC team they have. Zizang Top has about half or over half of the whole team CC in his pocket. We need to see him rotating to these plays to commit it, to set up his team to actually get these kills.
Taking a little bit of damage there from a Mena who came through to try and get his own collapse onto the tower. The Kingdom was there. We might not see anything going on in terms of fighting right now because the Infernal Drake is being taken. Rep trying to put a little bit of pressure on Awaken. We are going to see the Infernal Drake go down quite safely for Aurora Reapers. That's their second dragon of the game, and that's going to be giving them a little bit of damage that they might want to try and secure a few more kills for themselves as they move forward. But we might see a fight in the top lane. I'm looking at Awaken and Reprobate, and they've got the looks of people who want to fight right now.
It's very good for DEA that they just got this Infernal as well, because he's actually chosen to go for a Guardian Angel first item completed after his jungle item. So he doesn't go for that normal Duskblade. When you're this ahead as a Nocturne, normally you go for extra damage to get that one-shot potential coming out even further. But they're so far ahead at this point that they can just start building defensive items, and they're still one-shotting them. And this is only helped by the extra 10% AD and AP they're getting off this Infernal Drake. So I really do like this pickup. I think that they can actually abuse dives even more than they could before, whereas at this point in the game, with a team without that many tanks, diving too hard is a way that you can throw that game and put it back in the other team's favor. But now that you already have a GA on this Nocturne, he's actually in such a safe position that they can start diving towers to snowball this game even harder.
This is gonna have to be a fight coming in right now. This Army tidal wave coming forward. King is gonna flash onto Clean My Cody. Clean My Cody is gonna go golden as King is gonna be taking a lot of damage, and the burn is onto him. Awaken's already dead, but we're gonna see a full lift. It's gonna be Reprobate coming in, but now we see Awaken using that Cataclysm to grab himself a kill onto King and going down 3v3 though, as we see Reprobate, Zerg, and Vayngod all looking to pressure in. Reprobate,
Mena's coming in.
Charge. Mena is looking to come in on the back line against CBA. He hasn't got that package, so it's not going to be as big. Awaken, flagging and dragging forward, trying to get a bit into the action. Reprobate getting right up in the face of Mena, taking damage doing so. As the 4 members of Royal Reapers looking to get pressure on. We see DEA in the top lane grabbing himself a tower up there, using that Rift Herald to look to pressure for more. As the Royal Reapers grabbing that second tower, but third tower of the game because they already got first tower mid, and they're going to be looking to pressure on for more. Are we going to see any kind of response anywhere on the map from actually CBA? They're cooling under this tower right now, but they can't afford that with 4 members there. Zizang Top is actually top for the first time in this game, but it's not going to be enough to stop the second tower falling down as the Rift Herald is there trying to walk around, getting a bit jumpy. He's going to go down though, but a huge gold swing, even more so with all those towers going down for Royal Reapers. And you've got to remember, this is only 18 minutes into the game. 4 towers already taken by Royal Reapers.
This is how they get these leads. They get the maximum value out of every advantage they get. They had this bot lane fight where they were the ones getting engaged on, and they managed to walk away with the TPs getting a turnaround the fight, and DA is already beelining for that top lane, drops the Rift Herald they got earlier, gets 2 towers from it, using the AD that he's built up to this point, and just 1 flash engage from Kingen ends up losing them, I think it was 2 players and 3 towers? Like, that is just... How are you supposed to come back from something like that, where every time you give them an inch, they take 10,000 miles? And with a team comp like this, when they've got the Lucian, they've got the Corki, they've got this Nocturne who's coming at you so fast, they need to just try and stall out to not get rolled over, because they have people like Caitlyn and they have Lissandra. These are good wave clearing champions. They got Jace as well. They could stall out this game, and I feel like at some point in the near future they're just gonna have to. Oh, hang on a second.
Paranoia coming down. Kingan's gonna try and make his escape, but Rek'Sai might not be able to get out of this one. Mena and Zizang Top look to fight bot lane. Zizang Top is even further from home and is gonna be taken down. Another fight's happening mid. Vayngod is gonna be taken low by Yoshi's, who's gonna try and get that culling down onto him. Zerg is gonna flash forward, thinking a little bit himself. DEA is now the one in trouble, but he's not actually the one in trouble. Awakens on the King, grabbing King, and Yoshi is cool, shooting from over the wall, grabbing another kill. The sniper coming up from Vanguard isn't going to get any kills down there. Royal Reapers once again getting out, this time by the skin of their teeth in a couple of cases, but grab 2 extra kills for themselves. We get to see another kill going bot for Mena, and we're going to see the tower being pressured there. Royal Reapers are running Royal rampant this game.
That was actually a relatively close fight there. DA went in, he didn't get that stun onto Kingan, very nice use of that tunnel to get himself out of range, and then DA finds himself on the wrong side of the wall, and actually CBA says, oh man, this guy's alone, we can actually kill him. They popped his CBA to be, his CBA, his
Pop your CBA,
popped the CBA to be fair, they popped his GA to be fair, and then they just couldn't quite get anything on the back. Vanguard was pumping out so much damage, but he has to retreat already just because he's so far behind in the gold deficit. So they're not without things to do, and they have the champions that can be effective. It's just that the lead is too tough for them to surmount right now if they take an even fight. That was a pretty scrappy fight taken from Royal Reapers, all things considered. It was basically a straight up 4v4 when the Nocturne ult had little to no impact because it was on Kingan, who's probably the only person who can actually weather it at this point, and they still managed to push it through just with the gold advantage. However, that is to say nothing of the fact that Omena killed Jurjang top again on the bot side. He is now 0-5-1 on the Sashandra and is basically a non-entity at this point. He hasn't completed a single item, still trying to get Eludens wrapped up before he can even get his Zhonya's. And I think that Omena split pushing is actually really strong for them. Nobody on the side of CBA can actually 1v1 this Corki, if I'm not mistaken, at this stage. He's almost completed that Infinity Edge. He's actually gone for the Rapid Fire Cannon first instead of the Triforce into Infinity Edge, just because he's so far ahead, and this is becoming insurmountable for them. They've got the 2 Ocean Drakes now, really nice against them. The long range damage that CBA is pushing out, they can just back up, they can heal up, they can wait for the Nocturne to come back up if they fluff and engage. This is really all playing into the hands of Royal Reapers, and I think that what we need to see from CBA is they're just going to have to hold their base. I mean, they don't have any towers anymore outside their base, they ain't got that much else to do, but with someone like Caitlyn with the traps, with the wave clear they have, and the surprise CC that they can use with the Caitlyn traps, the nav, you can actually get out of a dive if you play it properly. So this could be nice for them actually.
Might be going down though. Mena trying to dish out as much damage as he can. He's going on to King, and King is going to be used. Mena's going to miss the package, and it's going to be a lot of damage going down onto him. We're going to see a shutdown. King is grabbing that one, but Mena almost got 2 for his trouble, only missing that skill shot to deny it. As 4 members of Royal Reapers look to get something mid, they're not going to be able to get the inhibitor as the remaining members of the Let's Kill Mena party turn up. And yes, Omena overextended there, but almost. You could see he was so close to getting 2 kills and turning that fight on its head.
Yeah, you could see, it's not even that he can 1v1 everyone on the team, he can 1v2 any 2 members of their team at this stage, and he almost managed to pull off a nice little 1v3 and get himself 2 trade kills there. Royal Reapers do play up to their strengths there. They managed to get a return objective, they get that mid tower in trade for Omena's life, 1,000 gold shutdown. Does go over to Kingan. It's probably not ideal at this point. You really want it to go on someone like Vanguard, who has been shown that he's actually played rather well so far. If he wasn't getting ulted by DEA all the time, he's been really trying hard to win these fights for his team, and 1,000 gold shutdown would accelerate him onto that 3rd item as fast as possible, which is really what they need to start weathering these engages. And I think the Baron is now going to become the focal point of this game. Oh no, that's a pretty early stopwatch.
Made an interesting decision there from Seadogs top. He's going to use his ultimate for a second layer of invulnerability as the team turns up. The DA is already going to grab that kill. Absolutely erupting Lissandra going down. And Mena doing that damage now.
Yeah.
Vanguard's going to go down. It doesn't matter how good you're playing. If you're just playing it like that, Golden Rek'Sai is also going to be surrounded and absolutely annihilated. Yoshi's cool going to grab that one. They're moving straight towards Baron and Asher. Once again, Zizang top out of his depth in the mid lane, going to be taken down. And the Baron buff is the next thing on the menu for Royal Reapers.
It really just feels bad to stay on this one, but this whole game feels so heavily affected by this mid lane. Both of the side lanes, they had rough times with DEA and they did a great job at setting them behind. But if they didn't have this deficit in the mid lane, if Jujang actually had any kind of capability this game to lock someone up, to maybe even just do half of their health bar with a combo, and to be able to play proactively with his CC, they would be able to possibly catch out and stall out and maybe get themselves back into this game, but there's just never a point where he's able to do anything. He's always dead before the fight begins, whether it's in a side lane or whether it's there where you see him getting caught out by a nice binding by Clean by Cody. So this is just the story of this game, as I say, it's the mid lane deficit is really the huge optimal factor here, and now the Baron is just knocking down these towers. There's nothing CBA can do. They can't contest it, despite the range advantage they have. They're just not in this game yet.
Kingan's going into the middle. He's trying to get involved in the game, but he might be in a massive spot above us. Zizang top is already dead. I don't even know where he went in that fight, and I remember falling down there. Kingan reprobating. Zizang all dead. DEA going low. It looks like the game might be all said and done here. The first Nexus tower's gone down. They're going to take the second Nexus tower going down. Nexus is the next thing on the menu. Raw Reapers, after 25 minutes, show that this was not a close game, and it's going to be them taking that victory over actually CBA.
Yeah, Raw Reapers are very confident in their position at the top of the league board, and I've got to say, so am I after seeing that game. That was absolutely dominant. They showed no fear in coming in there. They had a slight early deficit that looked like CBA were going to be able to match them in these lanes in terms of skill, but after a while, the team comp that RR built themselves was executed to perfection. I go back to it, this mid lane was just such a point of weakness for CBA, or rather, you could say such a point of strength for Raw Reapers. Amena played his heart out this game, pulled out so much damage, getting so much pressure around the map using this Corki pick, and that's twice in a row we've seen a Corki take over a game. So I think this is really going to be a pick to watch in Square One and on this patch and the patch to go forward. I don't believe there are any changes planned for this champion. And you can see the damage he's pumping out. Like, he's taken fleet footwork, he's played to survive and sustain in this lane. He's got a cleanse, he doesn't have an ignite or a particularly aggressive combat summoner, but he is just pumping out waves and waves and waves of damage, rocket after rocket, doing so much work for his team. And yeah, I think this one was just a very strong performance from Raw Reapers.
Yeah, absolutely. Very dominant performance, as we said. They're sitting at the top of the standings right now, and you can see why. Like, actually, CBA are meant to be one of the better teams in this league, but they were just made to look amateur by the way that Raw Reapers played. And they weren't without their good moments. Vayne God, we say, he was playing very well. There wasn't really much he could be doing in the bot lane. It was just kind of, oh, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to try and position as well as I can. Then he just hits Darkness and dies. And there's nothing really you could do in that situation as a Caitlyn. So it's kind of unfortunate. And DA obviously grabbing that Guardian Angel early on in the game meant that the diving was even easier for him. And there's just not too much you can do. Kingan also had some effect early game, was looking all right, but then it doesn't matter how much work you're going to be doing if a meta can rip through you with 2 or 3 auto attacks. So unfortunate for actually CBA. We're going to have to see how they can do going into next week and see if they can really recover and try and mount a new challenge to try and dethrone Raw Reapers. And there, we're going to have to see if Raw Reapers are going to be able to maybe cement themselves at the top of this table, or if they're going to maybe have a bit of a slip up, because we have seen teams slipping up in this league already. My voice is going. I'm just rolling all the words right now.
We'll have to see if Glorious Gaming, who were tied with Royal Reapers at the top of the standings at 10 and 2, we'll have to see if they can join them at the top now. I believe Royal Reapers is now moved up to 12 and 2 into currently the sole possession of first. Glorious Gaming, obviously the only team that we have seen, I think, with the same level of absolute dominance so far. I cannot wait for these guys to go at it. Honestly, I think Royal Reapers has Laogan Ma next week, which should be another great match in itself. Royal Reapers only have 2 losses. One of them was in their first game, that stumble against UE, and the other was against Laogan Ma. So I'm really looking forward to that next week matchup to see if Laogan Ma, see if they have the key to defeat this this lineup from Raw Reapers. Because honestly, I have no idea what the key is. These guys just look unstoppable right now.
They are looking very good, and that is going to be all for us, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to have to put a stop to us because we're about to be going off. Thanks very much for joining us on the Square One Champions League this today. But don't forget, there are just as many games tomorrow. There are 2 games being streamed tomorrow, and it's going to be just as much fun. So you should come, same time, same place, and watch the games with us. It's going to be brilliant. But from all of us here at Square One, from Vifrun and CJ, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for sticking with us, and I hope to see you again very soon for more Square One Champions League. CJ, any final words?
I think you summed up pretty well, dude. I'm excited for tomorrow, excited for next week, excited for the whole dang thing.
Just excited all over.
Just hyped out.
Just hype. Just Square One, it's just hype everywhere. Thank you all very much for watching, and we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for more great games. See you there.
See you then, guys.